That's from white liberals who think that black people are just so stupid that we can't even get on the internet and we can't get an ID.
Welcome back to another Blacktastic episode of the People Before Politics show, Sunday Rundown, powered by Black Westchester magazine.
This whole thing about the voter ID, right? I don't know what everybody's think, if it's good or bad. You know, I'm not really feeling, they try to drag black folks into everything. But my mother was born in 1935. She was born in a rural area of North Carolina. Now, I'm going to tell y'all how rural it was. I remember when I had stopped by and I graduated in 86, went into the Marine Corps, September 86. So I had a break. Maybe about October of 86. And I stopped at the home house, the neighborhood with all my mother's brothers and sisters, and I stayed there for a weekend. And in 86, I had to drive an hour. I'm going to say it again. In 86, I had to drive an hour to get a Heineken. That's how rural it was. Just to get a Heineken beer, I had to drive out. Now, fast forward, you still got to drive an hour to get a Heineken. That's the crazy part about it, right? But even though the town was rural, country, my mother had her birth certificate. My mother had a passport. She had a passport. She had ID. She had a driver's license. She had a job ID. So for them to say that doing the passport thing is racist, I don't believe that. Now, understand the law. When you register to vote, the process is you register to vote. Now, after you register, they put your name in the system to see if you're a citizen. So you register to vote, then they put your name in the system, right? That's the way it is today. All the bill does is reverse it. Is that you have to prove that you're a citizen before you register to vote. That's all it does, is reverse the system. Because the system has flaws. And people say, oh man, it's look, every year in Mount Vernon, Joshua's on here and he can testify. Every year in Mount Vernon, there's some type of lawsuit against the Board of Election, dead people voting. There was one person, I ain't gonna say no names, but y'all gonna know who I'm talking about. One person, to get his brothers elected, he voted 7 times, they said. One person voted 7 times. That's what they say, allegedly. But there was just a recent lawsuit against the Board of Election. So these things do happen. Do they happen like enormous? I don't know. Who was checking him in? I don't even know. But these things happen. So for them to say that makes black people hard, I really don't believe that. I just think, I think they're gaslighting the issue and they're making people, but, let's look what they're saying.
It's been clear. When we fight for democracy, when we protect democracy, we got to fight fire with fire. We're not going to stand idly by, as Maya said. We're not going to let them revert to Jim Crow. And if you don't think they want to revert to Jim Crow, just look what they did in the SAVE Act, which went back to took Jim Crow for the whole nation. By so making it hard, they said you need ID, and they made it so hard to show ID that probably half the people in America couldn't vote. We wouldn't let it pass. Democrats, they needed our vote. They went to court. Many of us, Durbin, myself, and others were lead plaintiffs, and we beat them in court. But it shows why we need legislation, because these guys are undoing everything in every way they can. They don't want poor people to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want Democrats to vote.
So you're trying to tell me that poor people can't get ID? But see, this is what they're pushing and having really people believe that poor people can't get ID. And that's not true. That's not true. That poor people can't get their birth certificate. That's not true. I just went online today because I wanted to see how hard it would be to get my birth certificate. And you go right on NewYorkState.gov and they send you to this portal and you fill out all the information. You pay $45 and get your birth certificate because nothing's free. And the majority of that amount was for the Federal Express that makes sure it comes to you and you have to sign it. You can't tell me poor people can't get a birth certificate and everybody out here rocking Jordans and $2,000 cell phones. But here's here's what they think. Think about this, y'all. Here's what they think about us.
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely.
Tell us how.
Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy camera?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that. It's on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yes.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that black people, especially poor black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid can figure out how to work the internet.
So that's what they think of black people when it comes to getting the ID. Like, that's amazing that we're like, nobody's even pushing back on that type of racist stereotype. That shit is racist. Like, that's from white liberals who think that black people are just so stupid that we can't even get on the internet and we can't get an ID. It's Jim Crow 2.0 for black people. Are you kidding me? See, and this is the thing that makes me upset. That Democrats don't push back on this nonsense. They sit here and co-sign it. Yeah, just like what Hochul said. Well, look, it's not just liberals, but they're the ones that's arguing the case that we can't get an ID. That's my point. Who's arguing? Who else is arguing out there but the liberals? Let's just be honest. Who else is arguing that it's a burden for black people? The Republicans are not saying that. They're passing the bill. But who's arguing about that? Keep us in the past, bob us from the present. Exactly. And I'm not attacking, somebody's going to watch this. Oh, man, Davis. No, listen, we're attacking it with logic. Can we use that sometimes without just feelings all the time? So how do you do that? How do you not address it? How do you not put back on it? Now, here's the thing. Most black people believe we should show ID. So why are they not talking about, why is Schumer calling it Jim Crow 2.0? Who made that up? Literally, there are white people in the room making up these type of things to say to black people. Because we can't be in the room if we got any common sense, because we be like, yo, that's stupid. So check out what CNN said.
Last year of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj. They favor photo ID to be able to vote.
What about by party? What's the party breakdown?
Yeah, normally you might expect, hey, there'd be a big divide by party with Republicans really for it and Democrats really against it. But not really here. I mean, just take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. You got 95% of Republicans, pretty much all of them, but even 71% of Democrats favor photo ID to vote. 5% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
But that's not what you heard from Schumer. That's not what you heard from these white folks that they were interviewing. That is racist. Well, that's what they're trying to. Well, that's what they're trying to call it. They're trying to call it a poll tax, but it's not. But it's not a poll tax. You don't see any. No, I believe it's other black people in the room telling them to say this stupid thing, because I don't see any mainstream black politicians speaking against it. Absolutely. There's nobody speaking against this. How do you, if 70% of black people are in agreement with having a voter ID to vote, having the proper process to make sure that you're a citizen, why is our black leadership not agreeing with the majority of black people? I really don't understand. And to call it Jim Crow 2.0 and to say that it is oppressive when every black person has a form of ID. So if you have a form of ID, that means you had to show other documents to get that ID. Even if you show your job ID, to get the job, you had to show your social security card. You probably had to show your birth certificate to prove that who you are and your driver's license. To get a passport, you have to show 2 forms of ID to get your passport, your birth certificate and your driver's license, and maybe a bill or whatever. I forgot. So you still have to go around to do it. And guess what? Zoran Mandami did a press conferences for snow shovelers. And guess what? To be a snow shoveler, you had to show 2 forms of ID. Ain't that something? To be a snow shoveler, you had to form 2 forms of ID. See that right there? It's 2 small forms, those 2 original forms of ID. So they don't want to have the process of checking, making sure the person has proper ID to vote, but you have to have proper ID in New York City to shovel snow. Make it make sense. That to show proof to get paid. Okay. You still have to show ID to prove it's you. So why is it so bad? Why is it so bad to show ID that you're a citizen so you can vote in federal elections? Why is it bad? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, brothers and sisters. And that's all I'm saying. You could argue with me if you want to. You can say whatever if you want to. That all that is cool. But that doesn't make any sense. And then they tell black people they're attacking us. It's a poll tax. It's Jim Crow 2.0. You're a responsible human being. You're supposed to have proper ID. I'm going to say that again for the people in the back that want to make it racist. A responsible human being is supposed to have proper ID. If my mother had it, who was born in 1935 in North Carolina, if she had it all through her life, how far back are you going to go? You could go 35 more years, but I don't even think how many people were around that was born before 1935. Oh, wait a minute. Her brother, who's still alive, who's a retired sheriff, and he had all his proper ID. And he was a sheriff. So black people, we are smarter than this. We are smarter than this. And this is what makes me upset. Because they treat us like we got ADHD as a group of people. Exactly. Back then, and you had to have some ID or you be hanging. Well, a lot of times you might be hanging on a tree.
What if the real problem in America isn't who wins election, but the system itself? In Democrats and Republicans, the ultimate gang bangers, I break down how modern politics has become loyalty over results. Leaders change, elections happen, but too many communities stay stuck in the same conditions. This book exposes the incentives that keep voters divided, dependent, and emotionally invested, while real solutions get ignored. If you're tired of picking sides and ready to demand outcomes, this book is for you. Click the link at the top of the comments or scan the QR code. Order now and get a signed copy while supplies last. Stop choosing teams. Start demanding results. Thank you for watching another Blacktastic episode of the People Before Politics show. Sunday Rundown, powered by Black Westchester Magazine. We appreciate every single one of you who tuned in, commented, shared the stream, and joined the conversation. Your support is the reason independent Black media continues to thrive and speak truth without fear. Every week, we show up to bring clarity, accountability, and real community insight to the stories that matter. And you show up with us. Whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or X, we want you to know that your voice, your engagement, and your presence make this platform stronger. Thank you for rocking with Damon K. Jones, AJ Woodson, and Larnez Kinsey as we break down the issues that many outlets ignore. And thank you for supporting a space where Black thought, Black leadership, and Black truth-telling still matter.